sugar, on molasses, on stamps. We shout, no taxation without representation, and we threaten the life or the property of the tax collector. And the tax is rescinded, but then another is put in its place because the king needs money. Finally, in 1773, the king decides that he is going to impose his authority on his subjects here in America, because it's widely believed at this point in time that the king is anointed by a god to rule over his subjects. And so it's an offense to God if you ignore the king's requirements. And so ships are dispatched from England filled with tea, with instructions that we here in America must purchase this tea. There's a ship coming up the Delaware River. It's named the Polly. And a group of nonviolent Quakers go down the river and they intercept the Polly, and they point out to the captain that not everyone who lives in the city of brotherly love is feeling brotherly love. And if the captain doesn't want to find out what it's like to be tarred and feathered, he should turn the ship and go home, and he does. But in Boston, there are 3 ships that are allowed to land. And that night, Sons of Liberty board the ships, and they throw 340 cases of tea into Boston Harbor. And this is what we call today the Boston Tea Party. When the king learns about this, he is incensed. He's insulted. He decides that he is going to punish his subjects here in Massachusetts. And so he imposes martial law in the city. He closes the port of Boston Harbor. And his word goes up and down the East Coast that the king has done this in Boston. We realize in all the colonies that if he could do it there, he can do it in Philadelphia and New York and Newport and Savannah. And so what are we going to do about it? We will get together in a city and we will discuss this. So what is the most important city in America? Philadelphia. And so we meet here for the First Continental Congress. 1/3 of the people in America at this time want to remain subjects of the king. It's a good economy. The king's in his 20s. He'll grow into his job. It's a good army. It's a good foreign relations. We're prosperous. Let's stay British subjects. We can find a solution to this. Another third say, no, for over 100 years we've been ruling ourselves. We don't need a king. We don't need parliament. We can go off on our own. Let's declare independence. And then the third say, we'll let you know which side we're on once we figure out who won. So they're unable to come to any kind of agreement except for one. And that is that going back to the Albany Plan of Union, they realized that if they band together and not go their separate ways, they can be stronger in their voice. And so they agree that they will send to the king a final petition asking him to send a delegation to America to determine how we can accommodate his need of financing, but also remain true British subjects. And so we send what we call the Olive Branch Petition across the ocean. 2 months travel time there, 2 months back. And the provision in this is that if the king ignores our petition, we will boycott English goods. We will not buy English-made products. And this threatens the entire economy of the country. So we find out eventually that the king doesn't even read the petition. He ignores it. And so on December 31st, 1773, or 74, we decide this is it. We need to come back to the most important city in America for the Second Continental Congress. And this time we'll meet in the largest public space in the country. Not Carpenter's Hall, but the Pennsylvania State House, the place that we today call Independence Hall. That is where we're going to go right now. Are we good?
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Are we excited?
Yeah.
Are we about to revolt?
Yeah.